Hi everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. This is the 2023 version of the Honda Pilot. It's the EXL trim level, and today we're at Holmes Honda to try to answer the question, is the 2023 Honda Pilot the best mid-size SUV? Obviously fully redesigned for 2023 inside and out. New engine, new transmission for the Pilot that actually makes it a lot smoother as far as the overall driving experience goes, with how the engine and transmission operate compared to the previous generation. Definitely an improved experience. This is Obsidian Blue Pearl Coat with a gray interior. And if you're planning to buy a Pilot and you're saying to yourself, well, what's the base price? $36,300 before you begin adding options or stepping up on trim levels. And they are available with front-wheel drive standard. Unless you go with the Elite or Trail Sport, then all-wheel drive is standard. All-wheel drive is optional on all other trim levels and is capable of sending 70% of the power to the rear tires. Let's talk a little bit about tire and wheel size while we're here. We're looking at 255 on the width. That's a pretty meaty tread pattern on the ground, a 60 series sidewall, and in this case wrapped around 18-inch wheels. And if you're saying, hey Tom, the Pilot looks a little bigger for 2023, is it? Yes, it is. Let's talk about those numbers. Wheelbase, measured from the center of one tire to the center of the other, increases by 2.8 inches. If you measure from bumper to bumper, between this generation and the previous generation, you will find an increase of 3.4 inches. The front width of the Pilot increases by 1.1 to 1.2 inches, and the rear 1.4 to 1.5 inches. And you can tell that everything's a little more squared off here. We have a wider front grille. The angle has changed. Well, basically everything has changed here. You can also see the nice front air curtains. You can see the daylight through those air curtains right there on both sides of the front bumper to allow air through. Increased airflow, or improved airflow, I should say, improves aerodynamics and gives you good gas mileage. Also the nice wide grille with that Honda logo there in the center. And we're going to have LED daytime running lights. We're also going to have LED fog lights. A little bit of chrome up here, the brow across the top of the front end right there between the grille and the hood areas that works its way into the headlight housing, as well as right here, working its way around those air curtains. And then we're going to have the heated power adjustable side view mirrors with the body color. They are manually adjustable. And what about the remote? Right here. Here you go, with the remote start built in, turn signal indicators in those side view mirrors. The walk-away feature, you've got the smart key, all that good stuff is here. And in this case, you will find the optional side steps here. Not really necessary, just an added accessory, but they are here. This vehicle isn't high enough off the ground to really need something like that, but in case you were curious, it is here. The body color shark fin antenna, and we will have the rear roof spoiler finishing things off. The nice design here on the rear with the tail lights and the Pilot logo there right in the center. A clean look on the rear with no exposed exhaust. And while there is only one engine and one transmission combination available for 2023 for the Pilot, it's an improvement over the previous generation, as I alluded to earlier. This is the 3.5-liter dual overhead cam version of the Honda V6. And while the horsepower only increases by 5 from 280 to 285 horsepower, the torque numbers remain the same at 262 pounds-feet. Gone is the 9-speed automatic transmission in favor of a specifically tuned for the Pilot 10-speed automatic transmission. How about MPGs? Let's take a look at what we have. 19 city, 25 highway, 21 combined, and 4.8 gallons of gas is what Honda says you should use per every 100 miles you drive. You have capless fuel fill and a 19.5 gallon gas tank. And as you can see, there is the all-wheel drive logo, just so you know that is what this particular model has. You can tow up to 5,000 pounds with the Pilot. And what about cargo capacity? 18.6 up to 86.5 up to 87 cubic feet. you have extra space underneath the floor. And this is a dual-sided floor that you can flip over. It has plastic on one side, carpet on the other if you wish to do that. And then let's see if I can do this one-handed. I think I can. There we go. A little hard to do. Got to hold the camera with one hand and work with the other one. Here's how you're maximizing cargo capacity. We're only going to do this on one side. And if you walk up to your Pilot and say, man, that rear door is way too high, don't waste your time looking for any features or options in the infotainment screen or the front seat area to change the height back here. Because all you have to do is bring it down or bring it up to whatever you want, and you hold the button until you hear all the beeps. So there we go. We've changed the height of the rear door and how far it opens. So depending on your situation, that is very helpful and very easy. I know a lot of the time we might assume that's going to be in the infotainment screen or something along those lines, but it says right up here, hold the set height. So that's what we did. And in case you were curious, no tire repair kits here. There is a spare tire. That always brings peace of mind. We'll take our first look into the gray interior and see the nice large door bin. You have the upper and the lower door bins here with the cup holders built in. Privacy shades back here for rear seat passengers, or maybe I should say middle seat passengers. And I like the fact that it is so easy to change how much leg room the rear seat passengers have. As you can see, there's a difference between where these two seats are located, and to gain access to the rear seating area, I like the fact that that seat automatically, when you push the button, gets up and out of the way. Let's hop inside and see what it's like to sit in the rear seating area of this model. So you can see, without the middle row seat right there, in this case there is not one. It is available, but it's not there, so I actually have a little more space for at least my left leg and foot. But over here, I have a good bit of space and a good bit of head space as well. At 5'10", I still have quite a bit of space. But if we move over here, this seat is probably not in the most likely position for it to be, but tons of leg room. And then mirrored image on both sides, I should say, as far as the air conditioning vents, the cup holders, and the USB option. Now, one thing you won't find here is a sunroof. Obviously, depending on trim level or options, there is a sunroof available, and it's a panoramic sunroof. And rear seat pockets will greet middle row seat passengers, as well as more connectivity down there, as you can see with the USB options. And you can obviously use the third zone of climate control back here. I'm tempted to stay back here for a while because it's hot today. But you can see that you can control everything that is here as far as fan speed, temperature, all that good stuff. It's all here. Very easy to use. And just as was the case with the rear doors, the front doors will have the upper and the lower door bins with cup holders. All that good stuff is going to be here. Power adjustable seats for the driver and the passenger. Heated only. We do not even need to think about that today because it is hot outside. But you will find some gloss black trim and space above the glove box right here in this area to put, well, cell phones or whatever the case is that someone might want to put in there. We do have dual zone climate control, and I'm not going to leave it on, but there are the 3 settings for heated seats. Boy, would I love to have ventilated seats today, headed for nearly 100 degrees. And our USB and 12-volt options here as far as connectivity goes. There is the wireless charging pad. You do have the push button shifter. Would you like to see a conventional shifter added? Maybe even a column shifter? For the Pilot, tell Honda what you think down in the comments. There's the mode selector. You have hill start assist. You can turn the auto stop start feature off, parking brake, and brake hold mode. Cup holders. And here is the rather large center console that doubles. The lid doubles as an armrest. And then we'll open that up and take a look down inside. Quite a bit of space there. And a sunglass holder up here. And guess what? There is the conversation mirror. Don't have conversations with the conversation mirror unless you're in the passenger seat when you're driving down the road. Looking in through the driver's side door, obviously you're going to have controls for all 4 windows and those power adjustable heated side view mirrors. One thing I would like to see Honda change, you do have seat memory here on the driver's side At this price point, I personally believe that should be on the passenger side as well. You can open and close the power tailgate from right here, as well as turning off or on traction control. You can drop the lever right here to adjust the tilt and telescopically adjustable steering wheel, nice and comfortable. And right here, a very interesting thing to talk about. Here's where you're going to control turning the headlights and the taillights on and off, your fog lights right here. And this lever has another function in addition to what I just showed you. You can use it to turn on your blinkers or your turn signals and let people around you know what you're doing. I know some of you don't have that feature on your vehicle. That's why you never use it, right? Can't say anything sarcastic about the control over here for the front and rear window wipers, but there it is. Most of you use that when it's appropriate to use, unless you have Rain-X. But you can't put Rain-X on your blinkers and have things work out the way they should. It's okay to laugh. There's the new digital instrument cluster, a nice clean look. You can control things from right here. We're going to hit the home button like I just did, and then you can go through a lot of information there on the left-hand side, as you can see, depending on what you want to see. If you want to know which direction you're going, there you go. You have a compass as far as navigation goes and several other features. It makes things very easy to use. And steering wheel mounted controls, obviously you have the shifter paddles here for working your way through that 10-speed automatic transmission. And this is the 9-inch touchscreen sitting at a 90-degree angle, no longer inset into the dashboard at the angle that it previously was in the previous generation. That's good because that means it reduces glare, makes it easier to see what's going on here. And we have quite a bit here to talk about. You have all of the nice features and functionality here as far as the settings you can change on the vehicle. Makes it very easy to see what you need to go to because of the nice graphics. I like the way that looks. You also have cabin talk. You can have all kinds of fun with that, whether you're yelling at the kids, being kind to the kids, or if you have unruly rear seat passengers, whatever the case is, yes, you can have all sorts of fun with that. And there's a compass right here too. So if you're directionally challenged, or maybe somebody else in the vehicle is, well, there you go. You can take advantage of that. And while this isn't going to be the same way as some of the higher trim levels are that have several camera views beyond what we have here, you still have the multi-view rear view camera. And I like the fact that right here you have an area where you can rest your fingers. It just makes it a little bit easier to make selections on the screen, including those 3 different settings on the screen. And we will go back into park right here. And one thing I do want to go over before I forget, let's look at our driving modes, as there are several to talk about. So let's just start here with normal. There's the graphic for normal. We're going to go to Econ next. Then we have snow, we have trail, sand, tow, and that's not all we have. We also have sport mode. So depending on your situation and or desires, well, you have multiple driving modes to choose from. And what a great segue into taking a test drive, talking about drive modes. So let's get out on the road and see how the Pilot drives and handles. Okay, we're out on the road for our test drive. And one thing I did not mention earlier that I think is a very important point is the fact that you have wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. So unless you need the USB cable to charge a phone, an additional phone that's not going to be able to be on the wireless charging pad, since there's only one wireless charging pad here. Imagine that if you had 2 of those. What would you think about that? That wouldn't be a bad thing. But you don't need the USB cable to use Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So a good thing where that is concerned. That just makes things so much easier now. Overall, a very enjoyable driving experience. The ride quality is good, and you really have a nice quiet interior. I'm not on a really bad road right now, very smooth paved road, so we're not getting a lot of road noise anyway. But it's a very enjoyable driving experience as far as just the overall experience goes. But we're about to find out what it's like to drive on some rough pavement. We're going to get up to 65 miles per hour, which is the speed limit here, and I'm going to let you listen for a few seconds. I know sometimes people ask me to use both lanes and let you listen. You can't really tell a difference, but I'll do it anyway. So keep in mind, this road is really bad, washboarded out, very rough, really kind of a worst case scenario for average daily driving. Most of you are not going to have to deal with this kind of thing, so you'll be in good shape. If it sounds really bad, that's because the road itself is really bad. But overall, the thing I have to say here is that the ride quality is still very smooth. It's not beating me to death. The ride quality overall on pretty much every road surface that you could drive on is going to be smooth and enjoyable. You have a nice comfortable steering wheel, a nice turning radius for a mid-size crossover SUV. It actually is very maneuverable for an SUV of its size, so really not a bad vehicle for even big city driving where you live, where there's millions of people or whatever the case is, a lot of traffic and congestion to deal with. Definitely will be easier in this case. Technology here is nice and easy to learn and use. If you haven't had this kind of technology before, don't let it scare you away. It's very simple. It doesn't get any different than what we have here. You don't have any different touch screens or anything like that available for the Pilot beyond what we have. Simple to use. So I know there's still people out there who have had their vehicle for so long that they're saying, you know, I just don't know if I want to step into all that technology. There are some vehicles out there where it's a lot harder to learn and harder to use, but not here with Honda. So overall, a very enjoyable vehicle to drive at what I consider to be a reasonable price. So tell me what you think. Is the 2023 Honda Pilot the best mid-size SUV? Tell me what your answer is and tell me why you answered the way that you did. I'm always curious to know. I have to say a special thanks to my friends here at Holmes Honda for loaning me this Pilot EXL for the day, and a special thanks to each and every one of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to subscribe, and if you would like to see additional videos on vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, simply learn about, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I will see you there.